Hey everyone, welcome back. Happy Monday. Um, Very dark times for the market, and I want to make a video today just to follow up on my last video. And I don't want you guys to panic, okay? I guarantee you some of you are panicking, and I'm here to provide some of my own insight as to what might be going on. So, It's true. It's true, to a certain extent. Um, it's hard to just look at technical analysis only rather than pay attention to the macro and the news. But, I still remain on my stance that those are mainly distractions and they don't fully describe the market. And I'm going to explain why. Now, from a technical perspective, let's look at the Bitcoin charts today. So we had this large drawdown, okay, negative 6%. And guess what? We ended up retesting 78,000. What did I say before? I mean, did I ever change this line from before? No. I, I, I said time and time again, we are going to retest. There's a very high likelihood that we are going to retest $78,000. And that is exactly what happened. Did we break past it for today, intraday? Yes, we did hit a low of $74,500. But right now, we still remain above this horizontal resistance line at 78,000. So that's the power of technical analysis, guys. Um, Now, does this always work out? No. So we have to manage our risk, and that's why we dollar cost average. Now, what I said before, I did want to revise a little bit of, the sort of like the nuance that I was saying. So last time I was kind of talking about how this FOMC minutes is being released on the 9th in 2 days. And what I really meant to say was, let's see what the sediment is, okay? From the FOMC meeting back in March, we know that the interest rates are going to be held steady, but from the minutes itself, we are often able to tell sort of, what the general sentiment is. So if we do get a dovish signal as opposed to a hawkish signal, then that really is going to be the green signal for the market. Okay, so that's really what I was alluding to. And I don't think I really made that clear in the last video, so I correct myself. Now, in terms of the inflation data, okay, I'm still thinking it's going to be a stagflation, okay? I just don't see a situation where all of a sudden we're just going to head straight into a recession. Okay, that the tariff is simply a tool to correct the market. The market has been corrected. I'm going to show you some of the data on the traditional equities market in just a little bit. And, I was actually watching BlackRock CEO Larry Fink's a little interview at the Economic Club of New York this morning. And while there are a lot of nuances, okay, I don't think anybody really is obligated to tell you the truth or tell everything at, excuse me, as is. But there was a lot of nuance. And the nuance was that this is a perfect time to buy in. So when everybody is fearful, that's when you buy in. Not necessarily greedy, okay, but you have to buy in. Like, for example, true greediness, in my opinion, is, taking a loan out and trying to buy the dip with that, okay? I mean, that may be, if you're just everyday average retail investor, that is probably the dumbest thing you can do. I'm just gonna straight up say that, okay? Now, um, but what's the other famous quote? The market can remain irrational longer than what? Then you can remain solvent. Meaning, and by the way, when I do say dollar cost averaging, I am actually dollar cost averaging. Okay. I have a strict budget and I do have the ammo to buy in. And that's why your primary job is very important. So you do need to have a steady source of income. And if you do not have a steady source of income, yes, you're going to miss out. You're not going to be able to dollar cost average like some of us. You're going to have to focus, okay, on your primary job and maximizing income before you can participate in this, unfortunately. But that's just how investing works. I mean, you can't invest something you don't have, right? So we have to be realistic here. And people are always like, oh, dollar cost average, buy the dip, buy the dip. And the meme goes, well, buy with what? Well, to that argument, I might say, well, are you not getting a paycheck? I mean, that's what I mean. You get a paycheck, all right? You budget, and then the amount that you're going to invest in, you divide it up, and you dollar cost it, you dollar cost average in slowly but consistently. So if you're asking the question, what am I buying in with what? That means you're not getting paid enough. So you have to focus on your primary income. Period. I mean that's the end of story. Um, there's no point in arguing about that fact. Okay, if you don't have money to invest, you need to earn more. And by the way, this is not really a personal finance channel. There are a lot of other personal finance channels which are very educational. They're great. Okay. This channel, Verified Gains, we're here to make money. Okay. And we do participate in aggressive investing strategies to maximize profit. So I'm not going to be the one here to tell you guys, oh, well, you know, if you don't have money to put in, like, here are 10 solutions. No, if you don't have money to put in, you need to earn more, period. Okay, so let's actually move on to the broader markets. And look at this over here. So this is the NASDAQ futures, right? Which I use as a proxy for the NASDAQ. And from the previous all-time high, we had a correction of 26%, guys. Negative 26%. And if you guys are not happy with that correction, that I really don't know what to tell you. I mean, a lot of people are maybe saying, we're going to enter a depression, stock prices are going to fall further, which is definitely possible. But if you guys are not dollar cost averaging at negative 26%, I really don't know what to tell you guys. And maybe I shouldn't actually, because it's not financial advice. But to me, negative 26%, I mean, that's a no-brainer. I mean, I'd essentially be emptying out my savings account minus any emergency fund and buying in right now. I mean, actually, that's what I've been doing. So it's not even advice. I'm just telling you guys what I've been doing. Um, and if you're looking for a better opportunity, like the perfect opportunity, then I'm sorry, but you're just not made to be an investor, let alone a trader. Please don't trade. So let's actually move on to S&P 500. And here again, we saw a great drawdown. By the way, if you're ever to compare S&P 500 and NASDAQ, NASDAQ's always going to correct more. Just, heavily tech stocks, they're more volatile. They move up and down more, greater risk. But even for the S&P 500, negative 21%. And I will say, by the way, I'm going to flip back to the Nasdaq over here. From a technical perspective, see what happened. The charts do not lie. We actually drew down past the bottom of this parallel channel, like I had said before. And fortunately, we actually opened here and we're closing above, um, you know, inside the parallel channel, which is great because we closed the gap. So, and what I mean by that as a review is if we opened here, for example, I never used a pencil tool here, but maybe I can try doing that today. Yeah, I'll have to figure this out. So, for example, if I opened here and I closed, here, let's say, so let's say this is my candlestick for today. Well, there would have been a gap between the previous candlestick and here. So this would be my proposed gap, okay? And what the market tends to do is it always tends to fill in that gap. So had we formed a red candle today instead of a green candle that closed the quote unquote gap, then that would have been an even better opportunity to dollar cost average in. But we ended up closing the gap. So actually now I don't know how the market is exactly going to react. Actually my prediction for tomorrow is that we're actually going to drop back down and retest this white trend line over here, which is the bottom of the parallel channel. Um, because we have no obligation to go back up anymore immediately because we already closed the gap. So I think we might end up forming a red candle tomorrow, and that's going to be another great opportunity to buy in. Okay. So, so that would be my strategy. Now let's go back to S&P 500. Okay, so that was a negative 21% correction from the previous all-time high. From a technical perspective, technically we're in the dead man zone. I mean, it would be very rough if we drew down another 14, 15% to the center of this parallel channel over here. I mean, that would be absolutely brutal. So we'll see. But for now, I don't know if like which direction we're going to move. I mean, similar to the Nasdaq, I think because we filled the gap over here, I wouldn't be surprised if we have another red candle tomorrow. Okay. Moving on quickly to Solana. I understand today's video is a long one, but there's actually so many things we could talk about. There are so many things. People are panicking, markets are selling off, and I feel like I need to make a lot of videos because this is actually a very, very important time and a very good time to enter the market. Solana, I mean, absolutely getting crushed. Okay. At this point, yes, I could technically draw like a downsloping trend line, but I'm actually not even going to bother drawing for the trend line. I'm just going to, just stick to the $126 resistance line, and I'm going to see how we, retest it. Okay. Um, and you don't really have, we don't really have to sugarcoat it. I mean, the fact of the matter is, the broader markets are selling off. So there's no surprise that Solana is absolutely getting crushed, okay, as a layer one altcoin. Um, Regardless, if tomorrow is going to be a red day, then I think we're actually going to, form a real body here. So meaning we might retest $95. So anything, no matter what the price is tomorrow, if we end up forming a red day, like a red candle, then I'm buying. Okay, so I'll buy more Solana, and then it'll be a one-to-one distribution between Solana and Popcat. So if we have another red day tomorrow, then I'm going to buy Popcat. And basically, my strategy moving on is until we have this whole tariff war situation resolved, and hopefully more, um, settlement coming from the Fed. You know, like I said before, I think down the road we are going to lower interest rate, and the inflation is really going to be the opposite of what everyone else is saying. I mean, nowadays, well, not even nowadays. I mean, even back in 2020, everybody was an economics expert. Everybody was a financial advisor. I mean, if the stock market was that predictable, we would all be Warren Buffett, right? I mean, I don't know how people are so confident. I mean, maybe sometimes I sound confident also, so maybe I need to humble myself. But I just knowing the current president's supposed personality and the cabinet members, it is in their best interest to correct the market so that they could enter at a fair price. Not they, but the industry in general. And it is not in their best interest to be in a recession unless it is one of those quote unquote recessions where we bounce back up very quickly, because then it would actually look very good on your resume, right? Very similar to 2019, 2020, if you guys remember that. So, I mean, if I had to make a prediction, that would be my 2 cents. I think, people are too scared right now, when they really shouldn't be. Um, and tariff is a very complex topic. Like, I'm not even going to discuss it because number one, I'm not that knowledgeable on tariff. And number two, the video is going to be like an hour long if we start talking about tariff, okay? And trust me, people that you watch on social media, like just like, whatever, just like, everyday average Joe talking about tariff, trust me, they have no idea what they're talking about. Um, okay. So anyways, this was a very long video, but, thank you for listening in. Tomorrow, I'm really hoping to dollar cost average more into Solana and Popcat. And, some of you may be asking, so when are we exactly bouncing back up? Well, let's just wait till Friday after the inflation data and the FOMC minutes come out. But until then, I feel like this is a great buying opportunity, at least for me. And I'm not sure if I want to talk about anything else, but if you guys have any questions or have any topics that you would like me to talk about, then please comment down below, please. Otherwise, I'm just going to talk about stuff that I want to talk about. Okay. Thanks for watching and thanks for listening in for this very long video. Bye bye.